trumpet, and this is what you've been waiting for. We're going to take a bit of a shift, and we're going to kind of tread deeply. I know you expect that on Saturdays with the Dig Deep series, and we're covering the book of Colossians. Today we're going to do that in the prophetic trumpet. So hey, it's time to get yourselves ready and to get your minds open, because I'm going to hit you with some pretty heavy stuff here to start things out. Now, we are in the 5th week. We are in the 5th week of the food fight. We're in the 6th week of the series, and we're in the second part of the reasons why there's a food fight going on. Now, famine has been the focus for the last 4 weeks, and we have listed previously that there are 5 times in the New Testament to where it speaks of famine and a coming famine. 5 weeks detailed as to what we have dug into as to how food is being used as a weapon. We have now a twist that is coming, like I kind of just mentioned. In the examination that we have undertaken so far, we've noticed that foreign entities are playing a larger role in what you have on your plate, and how that is now threatened. We have discovered this, and we have broadcast this. And no one outside of political power has voted for this intrusion. Really, let's just be honest, unto what we eat and what ends up on our dinner plate, what we feed our kids, and what we feed our neighbor with. You know, when we have company and we have a cookout or whatever. So how deeply embedded is this into our culture? Well, I'm here to tell you, is it a part of our government or is it something else? Sit tight. We're going to dig into that. Food as a weapon, part 5. Here we go. So let's talk about the Food and Drug Administration. Let's talk about that. What is it? It's an agency of the United States federal government authorized by Congress to inspect, to test, to approve, and set up safety standards for food and food additives and drugs and chemicals and cosmetics and household and medical devices. That's the jurisdiction. So let's just focus on the food portion of this, because that's pertinent to what it is we're referring to here, right? Context, context, context. What it does, what does the FDA do? Well, we went to the Encyclopedia Britannica. You remember those? Well, they're now online. You don't have to have, a stack that's 6 foot tall books to be able to find what you're looking for. This is what it said. It said the FDA is empowered to prevent untested products from being sold and to take legal action to halt the sale of undoubtedly harmful products or the products which involve a health or safety risk. Through court procedure, the FDA can seize products and prosecute the persons or firms responsible for legal violation. The model was not original. It is not original to the United States federal government. I need you to know that. Where it came from is going to blow your mind. So we did some tapping around, and we started to look at some historical documents, and we started to see, as the influence that we have touched upon in this series about foreign influence in the United States. And we happened to strike a bit of gold. So here in Texas, that's black gold. Texas tea. You know what I'm talking about. You old timers, you know what I'm talking about. So we continued to dig. We went to GermanHistoryDocs.org, and we found an incredible document, and I'm going to quote from it. And this is really all that we're going to have time to get into today, so I want you to pay particular attention as to what my premise is. The premise that the FDA did not originate, the idea itself did not originate with the United States federal government. Here we go. In 1933, the blood and soil ideologist William Walter Darer, D-A-R-R-E apostrophe, took control of Nazi agricultural policy. A Reich farm leader and Reich Minister of Food and Agriculture. Derer, I guess that's how you pronounce it, Derer? We'll go with Derer. It sounds a little bit more French, but even though it's German, we'll go with it because it sounds prettier. Derer coordinated and directed all German agriculture through the so-called Reich Nutritional Estate, the RNE, which regulated the production, wholesale, and retail trade of consumption of all agricultural products. Central protection and promotional measures such as production norms, fixed prices, import duties, and support purchases were supposed to insulate German agriculture from the world market and make it as productive as possible. That's a very German thing. Efficiency is a very German thing. In fact, in 1939, Germany achieved the goal of self-sufficiency in the production of bread, taters, sugar, meat, and other foodstuffs. That must be a technical word. I'm not familiar with foodstuffs. But only through strict rationing. We'll get into that next week. Now, at least 15% of the food supply was still being imported. Prices increased and supply shortages were already common in Germany before 1939. Gee, I wonder why. Additionally, the demands of war preparation also prevented Deray from realizing his goal of raising farmers to central position in the new German national community and achieving a general return to pre-industrial farming. Great areas of farmland were transformed into roads. In other words, eminent domain. They were seized. Airports and military bases. The building of the West Wall alone swallowed up 5,600 plus farms, and others were confiscated and forcibly combined in order to increase production. You see the commonality here. There's a bit of a commonality. The flight from the land was further accelerated by the development of the armaments history. In other words, arming the nation of Germany during the war. Do you see some commonalities here? But guess what? There's more. The worst of this is still to come. The irony will be shared next week, and there are multiple things that the irony comes from. But as you heard right here with this institution, the RNE, the Reich Nutritional State, this organization and the breadth of what they control, the fingerprints match what the FDA controls. We can see that eminent domain, which was created legally by President Clinton, I believe by executive order, I could be mistaken with that, that was also created, eminent domain, for the common good of the country or of the state. And this has been implemented against farming and against farms. Now we have this measure being taken across the world to where farms are being taken. Farmers that will not give up their farms are being taxed to high heaven and forced to give up their farms. We see that, like I said, the tying in of the control aspects of what the organizations do between the FDA and this organization that originated in Germany pre-World War II, or during World War II, excuse me. So the worst is yet to come. There's a lot more commonalities with what's happening in the here and now that you're going to be able to see if you join us next week. And this includes Russian involvement. That comes next week. And how it was repeating itself in the here and now. So please tune in next week. But hey, do us a big favor and like and share the message. These messages are very brief. They're very bite-sized. Get them out so people can understand what is happening in our world and why history is repeating itself, and it is doing so just as the Bible said it would. Now, join us, as I alluded to earlier. Join us on Saturday as we dig deep into the book of Colossians and we continue that series. And do us all a favor, go out and be the salt to the earth.